This episode is brought to you by Coldstream Clear. Coldstream is a Canadian-made, Canadian-owned company, and I'm telling you right now, everything they make is amazing. Here's a point to just how good their product is. Their peach iced tea vodka drink, well, myself, I'm not a peach flavor of anything fan, but I'll tell you this. I had a sip of one of these a few weeks ago. Next thing I knew, I was on my third. That's how good they are. Made with real brewed tea, vodka, and delicious peach flavor, this drink will be a hit at any setting, whether it's a backyard party or crushing a couple after a big win on the ball field. Once you try this flavor, you'll be sure to go back for more. And hey, to all our Ontario listeners, you can now find these in all LCBO stores across the province. What are you waiting for? Go out and get your Coldstream today. Hey, what is going on? Hope everyone had a great week. Welcome to episode 177 of Outside the Chute. I'm your host, Randy Frame. What an episode we have for you this week. This was such a great talk. We had the pleasure of sitting down and chatting with three-time All-SEC First-Team Selection, 2011 NFCA All-American, 7-time All-MPF Selection, as well as the 2013 MPF Player of the Year. She is a University of Georgia Bulldog alum, the one and only Megan Wiggins. We talked to Wiggy about getting her start in the game, the journey to and her time with the Georgia Bulldogs, moving on to the pro game, her 14 years doing so, and so much more. Megan was an absolute pleasure to chat with. I am so hoping that she gets to get that 15th pro season in the summer. If she does, you're going to see a lot of those milestones pile up, and one team is going to benefit from getting one of the most consistent players to ever play our game. While you're here, make sure to drop a comment on the show, give us a 5-star rating. You can follow Megan on Instagram at MeganWiggins25 and on X at TheMeganWiggins. We're at Outside the Chute on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. Let's get to the episode. This is Outside the Chute, and anything goes.
I got the world in my palm, like camera action, it's on. I can't describe what I'm feeling, ain't never felt this freedom. I got the world in my palm, like camera action, it's on. Ain't never felt this freedom. Could you say that anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes.
All right, here we go. We are happy to have on with us today, 3-time All-SEC First-Team Selection, 2011 NFCA All-American, 7 times she captured All-NPF honors to go along with being named the 2013 MPF Player of the Year. She is a University of Georgia Bulldog alum. She is the one and only Megan Wiggins. Megan, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be here.
How's things going down in Georgia today?
You know, the weather is beautiful today, which, you know, in Georgia, the weather is pretty chaotic. I mean, 2 weeks ago it was snowing and then freezing weather, and then today it's in the 70s. So, you know, you got to be ready for whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I had Sarah Mosley on the podcast here last month, and she mentioned that, you know, you guys got dumped on with a bunch of snow, and we had nothing up here in Canada. And I was like, what? How you guys are way down the south and got snow, and we have nothing up here. So,
yeah. So.
Been a kind of a crazy winter as far as the weather goes. What else been on the go? How's winter been treating you?
Winter, you know, it's a little bit slower of, you know, just because I hate when it gets dark at like 5 p.m. So I feel unproductive when it gets dark outside, but you know, just slow. Trying to be consistent. You know, I got a lot of moving pieces happening and, you know, things that I do in the off season and different things like that. So just trying to be consistent, you know, working out, eating good, you know, trying to do the things that are harder to do, per se, in the off season. So
right on. Got to stay on top of things. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Of course, we have a little thing we like to kick off the podcast here with. I call it quick pitches. I'm gonna throw out some random questions to you, and you answer them as best you can.
All right.
All right, first one. Always start off with this one. If you had to live off one meal for a week, what would it be?
A week. Whew. I do like Mexican food, so like steak tacos and queso with chips. I could definitely do that. That would probably, and it's like semi-healthy.
Yeah.
I've convinced myself, so we'll go with that one.
Steak tacos. I've never had that answer before. That's awesome. Yeah. I've definitely had regular tacos, but I've never actually had steak tacos.
But with chips and queso. So
okay. All right. Yeah. Right on. Biggest thing you miss at Georgia?
Playing there, just being in college and playing, and playing in front of the crowds that we were a part of, and just a lot of the rivalry games, and going to different SEC locations and being able to compete at a high level. I think that was one of my favorite things.
Right on. If you could go anywhere in the world on vacation, where would it be?
Switzerland is at the top of my bucket list right now.
Ooh, nice.
I would love to go. I loved Japan when I was there. I didn't really get to do a lot of vacationing when I played there for 5 years. So, but it's a beautiful country. But I'd say Switzerland probably immediately would be on top of my bucket list.
Yeah, Switzerland's in my top 5. I like it. Italy's number 1 for me, but Switzerland's definitely in the top 5. I mean, anything, really. There's a lot of those European countries over there. Just the history and everything. Like, the architecture and the food. Like,
beautiful.
Yeah. Favorite uniform color combo with the Bulldogs?
All black. I love the all black that we did. Yeah. It was, for so many different reasons, but and that was just like a color. People are like, what's your favorite color? I'm like, well, does black count? Like, I love wearing black. I love wearing all black, but I think our all black uniforms were my favorite.
Yeah, they're solid. If you could go back and play one game over again, which one is it?
Does the outcome change, or is the outcome?
Well, no, it's up to you. It's up to you. It could. Yeah.
Dang. Honestly, my last game that we played, I remember just being we obviously lost, but we lost in supers at home against Baylor. And we were all emotional because at some point, you play to the last second, like all that, but at some point your emotions start to kind of take over a little bit. So I wish I could go back and play in that game and just be emotionally different, just soak up just the situation. Obviously, I wish we would have won and gone on to the World Series, but I wish I could have played in that game one more time and just kind of soak up every ounce and every second of that game I could.
Yeah, for sure. Best walk-up song you've used?
I try to make mine pretty epic when I choose them. And it's so funny because sometimes I'll choose the hardest song that ever was created. Like for a long time, it was Can't Be Touched by Roy Jones Jr. That's like my go-to. And I've had that for a long time. But then I also did Shallow from the movie. What's the movie? I forgot what the movie's called, but Lady Gaga is sang it. Yeah. So we're talking all over the place, just different, songs that can, grab different emotions during a game. And I'm a very deep thinker when it comes to music. I really enjoy music from an emotional type of standpoint. So, something that's going to get me pumped up, and, I can have a big rap song, but I also can have something that's just completely, totally opposite, a country song that I did Country Roads. And I love that song, and that, they're just completely different, but I'd say Can't Be Touched by Roy Jones Jr. is like my all-time go-to.
Right on. I'm a music junkie too. I mean, I'm the same, it's all about lyrics and everything. Just if you find that right song that hits you, I mean, it can do good stuff for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Couple more here, 3 more. If you could have dinner with 3 people, living or dead, who would they be?
Oh my gosh. I was talking about this question the other day. If somebody asked me this, I already know my answers.
Oh, sweet.
So I love Adele. So Adele,
for sure. Who doesn't?
Yeah. And so I've been slightly obsessed with Wicked, and I would have Cynthia Erivo also there with Adele. And let's see, who else? You said 3?
Yep.
Let's see. Dang. Dang, that's a good one. Who else? I'm thinking of, she's an actress, Taraji P. Henson. I love her. She's super funny, but I love her, just all the movies she does. And yeah, so those would be my 3.
Okay. All right. Best DIY project you've done?
Oh, they're all so good when they're done.
Yeah, I know, right?
When they get done, they're also amazing. To be honest, I would say my house in a whole, like as a cumulative project. It wasn't one huge project, but just the transformation that from when I bought my house till now. I mean, so many things are so different. And my style, or just my decision making has changed probably multiple times over the years. So, it's an ever changing thing. I have a couple little projects happening right now, but I think I'm just really proud of my house. Like, I think that's just something that, I went in, I bought it sight unseen. I was overseas in Japan. I bought it online. I had my mom be the power of attorney. All I had was pictures to go, but I knew I wanted to, a DIY project. Yeah.
Wow.
And if you ask me if I would do that again, I'd probably say absolutely no, 100%, the way I did it. But now, with the housing market the way it is, and I think it's a great opportunity what I have here. And then it's home, and it feels such like a home being here, and just all the projects I've done. And so yeah, I enjoyed it. I'd definitely say my home. But
wow, without seeing it, I worked like before my current job.
Yeah.
I worked in home construction for 10 years, and I could not imagine buying a house, not seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the pictures.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. But you don't know how crooked how unlevel things can be.
Oh yeah, no, everything was not level. Nothing was level. And that's what makes all the projects even more fun.
Sure enough, yeah.
Nothing is easy.
Right.
It's like one project turns into 12 projects because something's not square or level,
Yeah. Yeah.
So needless to say, I've learned a whole lot.
Oh yeah.
But,
yeah. Now I saw your social media post with your backyard, like the back part of your house that you did. What a job! What a fantastic job that was.
Thank you. Yeah, that was like a mediation of the way the house was built. There was water damage because of that. It's old and the concrete water was getting, just so anyway, I mean, me extending the roof line made the water thing better, but also gave me a great patio in the back area.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, it was a no-brainer. I love indoor, outdoor. I love being outside, when the weather is obviously nice, and being able to enjoy just that type of thing. And, when the sun's out, being out there, drink a, glass of sweet tea, or just, put a big screen TV out there and watch football or softball or, whatever's on. But yeah, no, it definitely, and I was able to use wood that I got milled from huge trees that I got cut down on my property. So I was able to reuse those, salvage that. That was the whole plan the whole time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I had these huge, the trees were older than my house. My house was built in 1937. So they were huge. And so I got them milled down to, 2x6s or whatever. So we were able to use that to, build the roof the roof structure or whatever. So yeah, it's just a cool I like that type of stuff, being able to reuse materials.
Absolutely saved on cost, but just the what's the word? I mean, the homeliness, the hominess of it. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's wood that was here before the house was.
Exactly.
And it's a different form, and that's the type of stuff I kind of love about my house, that I have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
So
that's fantastic. Yeah. Last one here. Should Barry Bonds be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, he should be.
I agree.
That's literally why I wear number 25.
Yeah, I know. So it's such I cannot believe he's not in. It's
this is my take on it.
Yeah.
You still have to be really good. Like, I don't know how big the fences are. I think, what are they, 3 something, 4 maybe, depending on. You still have to be really good to hit the ball anyway over the fence.
Exactly.
Right? So give or take a couple feet, 20, 30 feet farther, because whatever. At the end of the day, you still have to be really good at what you do to be able to hit the ball the way he did. So for that, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. I understand why, and I think that there's validity to that argument. But overall, at the end of the day, yeah, I think he He should be there.
And not just the home runs. Look at the amount of walks. He led the league in walks for 12 years. Like,
yeah,
that has nothing to do with steroids at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I don't know. It's a little silly. And that's the same thing with Pete Rose. I mean, he should have been in before. Like, they'll probably put him in now that he's passed away, which I think is ridiculous. And if I was his family, I'd say don't even bother. Like, anyway. All right, enough about that. Let's get on to your career here. Let's go back to the beginning. Tell us how Little Megan got her start in the game.
Little Megan is the only child. So Little Megan used to play softball or, backyard, whatever you want to call it, in the cul-de-sac in our neighborhood with all the other kids that were back there. And my neighbor, she was probably a couple years older than me, but we used to always play. She played softball, probably t-ball at the time, and, rec ball. So I think that's kind of how it like really got started. Just, in the neighborhood and everything like that. And then, started playing t-ball, rec ball. I started when I was like 4 or 5, with t-ball and, played rec until probably 7 or 8-ish around there. And then I started playing travel ball, 10U. I was 9, I think 8 or 9, and played travel ball all the way. And then high school did that, played travel ball.
What club was that with?
What's that?
What club was the travel ball with?
Travel ball, yeah. We basically were a one-off team. Like we had. I used to play for the Classics when I was younger.
Okay.
And then so we split. Our team split up, I guess. And then another team had split up, and so half and half kind of came together, and we were called the Georgia Titans.
Okay.
And yeah, we were really, really good. We had a great team. I think I played for them. I think it ended up being like 5 years. So I played for them from like 12U all the way through until college. Wow. So, we had a great team. I'm still friends with the girls. We all went, pretty sure we all went D1, got a scholarship, that whole thing. And yeah, we had a really, really, really elite team. Went to all the big tournaments, did all that stuff. So
any big moments from, travel ball stand out to you?
It's so different than travel ball now.
Right.
I remember, we would go be at these big tournaments, Colorado, and we'd be playing, we're playing at Colorado. So at the time, all the best teams were at Colorado. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like a 7,000 team situation, now how it is, but
crazy.
We'd have 20, 30, 40 coaches literally standing and watching our game, all ACC, all SEC, all, like literally all the top teams in the country watching our game, and that just, that's crazy. It doesn't really happen a lot like that anymore. And I just remember time and time again, we went to these big tournaments, there are tons of people, and just having good big games, you're just competing. It was just different. You noticed it. I noticed it, but back in the day, it wasn't as big on recruiting. So like, I was just having fun. I was out there competing, playing, like wanting to win. Like I cared, but I didn't really care. I didn't really care that they were out there. Like I just was there. Hey, they're here, but I'm so invested in the game. But I do remember just now, thinking back, like there were literally hundreds of these college just literally watching our game, like lined around the fence,
That'd be great for the nerves, just for a lot of the players there must have been like, oh my, like, look at all this.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's crazy. And I think too, like the recruiting was so different. So, it just was almost normal. It was normal to see that many coaches at these types of tournaments. And it was just, and now it's like, I know these coaches.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I either played for them or friends with them. I have them in my phone. Like we text back and forth, different things like that. So it's wild. It's wild to think about.
It's funny how it works out. So did you play any other sports growing up?
I did. I played, obviously softball. I ran track and I played basketball. So,
oh, okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I did those in high school. So we play softball in the fall, which we're only like 7 of however many states that play in the fall. So it was that, and then it was basketball, and then it was track in the springtime. So,
okay. So it filled up your school year though.
Yeah. I stay busy.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the recruiting process then again. Was UGA from the get go? Is that where you had your heart set, or were there any other schools in the mix?
See, I go back to just how much the game has changed over the years. Like, I didn't really know anything about college softball. Like, I didn't grow up like, oh my gosh, I want to go to Georgia. Like, I didn't really know it existed. I played because I played.
Right.
And at some point, I realized that I'm pretty good at this. People started calling to ask if I want to try out for their team and, different things like that. But come like the recruiting time, I was the youngest person on our team. So it almost was a little delayed. But I was essentially playing up majority of my time playing travel ball. So it wasn't like I was like, had this whole list. I didn't know. I really didn't care. Not in a bad way. Like I just didn't, I was not aware.
You were just there to play, right?
Yeah, I was there to play. Yeah. And it kind of was like an adaptive type of scenario where, oh, okay, yeah, I can, I probably didn't know till my freshman, sophomore, junior year that I would play in college. Like I did, it wasn't something that is in your face 24/7 like it is now.
Yeah.
But I do remember, I got a lot of letters. I have, so many letters, so many things. And I ended up going and I took a couple official visits. I took one to Auburn. I took one to Mississippi State. And then I ultimately took one to Georgia. And then when I went to Georgia, we went to a football game. And I don't know, I felt like I was at home. I felt it was right. I just got that feeling. And I just knew from there that was the decision I was going to make, and that was going to be where I played softball.
Awesome. It's funny. Yeah. I'm looking at my notes here, and I didn't even realize I put this in. It was talk about the difference in recruiting now as opposed to back then. And I mean, like you said, it's crazy now. Like when you think about it, like back when you were getting recruited and whatnot, like Twitter wasn't a thing where you post stuff about, post highlights of yourself. You know what I mean? Like
Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook didn't exist.
Exactly. So I mean, what's your take on it now? Like how players are posting stuff online to kind of get like noticed, and you know what I mean? Like what's your take on it?
It was funny. Like Coach Harris, they did a house call. Like they came to my house as a part of the recruiting process,
right?
And like that doesn't happen anymore a lot,
Yeah.
And I don't think it happens a ton in softball anyway. I think other sports maybe more so. But yeah, I mean, social media is definitely like, it's a part of the world,
yes.
And I think it's one of those things that you can't deny. But I'm also a firm believer in it not being solely the only thing that you can rely on. And I think, obviously a clip or a video is not going to tell the whole story of a player.
Mm-hmm.
While, if somebody sends me a clip of them hitting, I can say, oh, this, and this, and, like, let's work on this. Like, there's definitely stuff that you can see in videos or pictures or, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think it's a good tool, and I definitely think you can use it. But again, I don't think it's the only thing that you should be using when you're recruiting, right. Or, when you're kind of vetting these kids, when you're recruiting them, is like, you can't always get to know the person, if it's just a video of them, right. And I think about if I'm coaching or I'm recruiting somebody to come play for my school for 4 years, like I want to know them as a human being. I want to know them, so you have to dive a little bit deeper than just the video that they decide to put up there or this, that, and the other. And a lot of times, like, some of these videos, they're absolutely skewed and the information is incorrect, oh, my 10U pitcher is throwing 69. It's like, no,
you're not.
Like, no, she's not, and so, some of it just goes and falls through the crack, but I definitely think it's a tool, and two, from coach to player and player to coach, I definitely think it's a good thing. I think if you prepare your players for that and they understand how to use it, right, as a tool. When I was coaching travel ball, we would do, we would have them write, emails, and we'd send it to the coaches so we could look at it. Right. And so, coaches want kids that can articulate, can talk about, hey, my name is this, I'm from, basically they want educated people that can talk, and they're not so immature that they can't function socially and have a conversation, different things like that. So, just helping them understand how to communicate effectively with coaches, obviously adults, I think it's a big learning tool. So, we like to do that. So yeah, I definitely think it's important. Obviously it's a part of the world and the way the world works. So you just have to be smart about how you use it. And yeah.
Yeah. Now were the camps a thing when you were coming up? Because I know all the camps.
I think it was barely. I went to one camp, and it wasn't a school camp. It was like literally the entire SEC coaches were there. So it was like a multi-school camp. It was really a combine type of thing. The coaches weren't doing anything. We were just hitting front toss, doing skill stuff. Like they were basically just watching us. So I think it was this very minimal. I don't even know if school camps were happening. I don't know that. That's because I didn't go to any. I didn't do any of that. So I just went to that one showcase combine, whatever you want to call it. And there was like 20, 30, big time schools there. Yeah. That's the only thing I ever did. Okay. That and then play travel ball tournaments. So
right yeah, they're very prevalent now.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Richie Connors of World Financial Group, your go-to for financial advice and insurance solutions. At World Financial Group, agents help families and individuals achieve financial security through personalized solutions in insurance, investments, retirement planning, and debt management. Guided by their mission of no family left behind, they offer complimentary consultations to sit down and discuss your personal situation and create a plan tailored to your needs. For your free consultation, reach out to Richie today at 902-870-4504. Also be sure to like and share Richie's Facebook page at Richie Connors-Insurance Agent. Again, Richie's number is 902-870-4504. That freshman season in Georgia, what do you remember about that? Was there a big learning curve for you at all?
That year is hard to remember for a lot of things because I'll tell you what. So I broke my ankle. We get there, I guess mid-August. I broke my ankle like mid-September, actually end of September. And so I had to get surgery. I did rehab. It was a lot. It was a lot to take on as a freshman.
I bet.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, I'll be honest with school was not my best. Like I was a much better athlete than I was a student.
I'm with you there.
And so, yeah, on top of already being a student, that's not my best thing I'm bringing to the table entering college. Yeah. Getting hurt, having to do rehab, wake up at 5 o'clock, do that, have this huge regimen and going through all this as a freshman, getting to class on crutches in a wheelchair, like so many different things. It was tough. It was really, really tough. Sometimes I'm like, I don't even know how I did that, to be honest. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and then I ended up playing. I didn't really miss a game at all. But it was a lot. It was definitely a learning curve. I think more so, playing for Coach Harris was the best thing I think that could have happened in my life. I think she prepared me and the rest of my teammates for the best softball that we were going to face and, different things in life. So there's always going to be a learning curve coming in as a freshman and learning how to play for whoever your coach is. Right. It's going to be way different. The expectation is going to be way different than, travel ball. Obviously your opponents are going to be way better than travel ball. So learning how to play and practice at an elite level, I think that she instilled that at my freshman year. Like She was very high intensity. I'm not gonna say perfectionist, but like she had a very high standard and always was that. It wasn't. She was never going to let you not try hard, and expect the most from you. And I think that's what made us so good. But yeah, definitely a learning curve on the field as far as that is concerned. But off the field, I think if I didn't break my ankle, it would have been a learning curve even, regardless as a freshman. But when you throw in getting hurt and having to deal with so many other things that go along with that, I think it was a huge learning curve. It was something that, a lot of people end up going through. And it's probably a lot different now, just the whole process and everything the athletes have to go through. But yeah, it was tough. It was really tough. I had a lot of, of my teammates and stuff that were able to help me just kind of get to class, help me carry my book, just different things. And, I was hurt. I was in a boot. I had surgery, but I was still practicing, I was still taking ground balls. I was doing drills. I was staying in, kind of being as active as I could.
Somewhat game shape.
Yeah, I don't know about game shape, but I definitely I was like practicing as much. Like, I remember we had like a swivel like bar stool thing that I put my leg on, the one that I broke, and I was still doing hitting drills, like, or like ground balls from my knees, because at that point I was playing shortstop. So yeah, it was a lot. College, my freshman year, was a lot, and I do not recollect majority of it, to be honest with you, because it was just I don't even know.
So how did you break it?
What did you say?
How did you break it?
Oh, well, sliding. So this is another thing that dates how long ago that I was playing travel ball. Travel ball. When I was we weren't wearing metal cleats. We weren't allowed to wear metal cleats yet.
Okay.
So the first time I started wearing metal cleats was in college. And so we were doing individuals at 7 a.m. in the morning. And so it was like 5 of us, and we're running bases and sliding. So we're going from first to third, sliding, working on, practicing running bases and then sliding in third. And so, yeah, I broke my ankle, obliterated it at probably 7:07 a.m. in the morning, and had surgery probably by like 9 a.m. And my mom and dad rushed there. Coach Harris calls them at like probably like 7:30 in the morning, and so it was wild times. Needless to say, they didn't practice sliding anymore the rest of that.
I don't imagine. It's funny.
And when
go ahead.
No, I was saying when they did, it was on a freaking slip and slide. So I was like, okay, cool. Yeah.
It's funny you brought up the switch over into metal cleats, because I can remember plain as day when I switched over to metal cleats, and I've been a pitcher my whole life. So coming off that mound with metal cleats for the first time, well, I bet you I tripped 2 or 3 times out of 10 pitches. It was an adjustment for sure. I got to ask about the 2009 season, sophomore year. You guys make your first ever appearance to the Women's College World Series. I mean, how fun was it to be part of that squad? That essentially it made school history.
Yeah, I mean, that game, if you would ask me the top 5 games that I could relive, that one would be on it.
Yeah.
The game that got us World Series. It was, like I go in, I think about this, and I went into college, and looking at what I know now about softball, when I came into college, I knew literally nothing. Like nothing in comparison to what I know now, but obviously what I knew that sophomore season. Like we went from like ground zero my freshman year, and we were still really good. We went from ground zero as far as all the knowledge that we had, and then we made a huge transformation as a team, like collectively as a team, not just 1 or 2 people. Like our entire team was like, did a 360 skill set, mindset, like all these things. And, we had 0 seniors on the team that year. We had 2 juniors, and the rest of us, the majority of us were sophomores and freshmen. So just being a part of a team that does something for the first time is obviously amazing in itself. I think we got through regionals, and then we got Ohio State for super regionals, and it wasn't a cakewalk. We didn't run roll them each game. We came back, I'm pretty sure, in both of the games that we ended up winning. And, it was just the mentality of our team. I think, it's, as a sophomore, it's like, okay, I got through my freshman year, but now I have something to prove. I want to be good. We all wanted to be the best. We wanted to win. We wanted to do all those things. And I think collectively, when you do that and you have, a coach like Coach Harris leading you, where she has a high standard, it makes you have a high standard. And I think that, again, there was no better coach that I could play for. I think she helped me reach, I wouldn't say my full potential, because I think that's the great thing about sports is, there's so much room for potential.
Yeah.
and growth. But the growth that I personally had my college career, I don't think I would have had that much anywhere else, because I think she coached in a way that I could resonate with. I think she was a lot like my dad, and how I grew up, and just, just the whole, our relationship, I think allowed me to be the best athlete that I could be there. And you know, I can never, I can never say enough good things about Coach Harris and what she did for me. But being a part of that team, and, really all odds, were against us, and all year, we had freshmen, sophomore, like we were depending on young kids that just came into college. We had no seniors, like I said, so it was amazing. And being able to think back on, that being the first time that happened, and almost like setting a standard now, that, or an expectation
right,
for teams to come. It was pretty cool. And then obviously going to the World Series was, amazing. And I can't even imagine being there now, because it's changed and grown so much. But it was wild. I mean, it was, some of the best days of my life, and, some of the best experiences, and, being able to do that at the University of Georgia with the people that I was able to do it with is, obviously something I'll never forget.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I've had many past guests on here and that's been to the World Series, and, talks about the intensity of it, the atmosphere. So did you feel that both those years that you got to experience, did you feel that, I guess the intensity of it all?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I told you earlier, like I'm a really deep, like thinker, like
right.
emotion, I feel things like really deeply, or, being somewhere and it means something. And, you go to the World Series and there's, at that point, probably like 15,000 people, it's, you're playing under the lights, you're playing against Washington, Daniel Lord, like all these things. It's so intense, but it's crazy. You practice that way.
Yeah.
And I think you practice a certain way, you have different expectations, and, you have a level of standard that you operate at. So it was like, it was a huge moment, so many things happening, but like, it's like you're prepared for it and you're ready for it. And it's like, it's not too big, because this is what you've been doing all year, and this is what you've been training your whole life for, type of situation. So, I mean, the emotions and the intensity at the World Series, really getting to the World Series and then finally being there, it's almost like once you get there, it's like, whew,
yeah,
finally,
I guess so. Yeah.
we can kind of start all over, because you never know what's going to happen in the World Series. That's been proven over the years, some crazy games. But yeah, I mean, those are some of the craziest, most intense just games, and everybody's kind of locked in, playing down to the last out, all those different types of like lifetime situations that you think about. I mean, it happens, and we had a lot of those, and it was fun. It was, I mean, amazing to be able to be there. And experience that, because everybody obviously doesn't get to.
Yeah. No, I guess like you said, I mean, the grind of regionals and super regionals to get there, I guess, would prepare you.
Yeah.
I mean? Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
and
big time.
yeah, and sometimes it seems like the regional and super regional games nowadays are way harder. Not way harder than the World Series, but like they are so hard. So when you finally break through and you get through postseason to get to the World Series, it's like now you can press reset.
Yes.
And kind of collect all your thoughts, because you're going weekend from weekend from weekend. It's not a really long turnaround time. So
yeah, for sure. Now, I guess looking back now, I mean, of course, you have the two college series, women's World Series appearances there. Is there? What are some of the other great memories that you have while you're at UGA?
Softball wise?
Yeah. Well, no, anything really. Anything.
I always tell people when they ask me, like, being able to graduate from the University of Georgia is one of my top moments. Just like I said earlier, like being a student, I wasn't, and I'm okay saying that, being a student coming in as a freshman I didn't care about that as much as I cared about softball. And so that wasn't the best thing that I embodied, and so I struggled a little bit with that. But being able to, I got better with my grades, and I got better obviously as an adult, a young adult, and over the 4.5 years that I was there. So being able to graduate and have a degree from the University of Georgia, I think is something that will always be special to me, because I did that.
Right.
I went through the grind. I the student athlete thing is not easy. So yeah, and it's something I'm proud of myself for, just being able to graduate from the University of Georgia. I mean, that's crazy in itself. Neither one of my parents graduated college, so it was like, it's special to me because I was the first person to be able to do that, obviously, in my small family. But just from a prestigious college like University of Georgia, I think it's super important. And then, everybody knows, like, being a student athlete is not easy in itself, regardless of, how great you are at. Yeah. So being able to go through all the things I went through, and being able to come out 4.5 years later and graduate from a university is something that I'll always be super proud of. I think too, I mean, there was a lot of games, there was a lot of things, accolade, all those things. But I think it was just something that, it was a dream come true, to be honest with you. Like, it was a dream I didn't know I had. And I'm glad that I found it. I'm glad that I got recruited. I'm glad that Georgia recruited me, because I really feel like they definitely got the best of me in that, at that time. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity, and I always will be, and I always will be a UGA alumni. And yeah, it makes me super proud to have been a part of that program with the people that I was a part of it with, and then being able to play for Coach Harris, now going into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I mean, it just is one of those things that, nothing will ever be able to replace that memory and all the memories that I had being there. But yeah, we had some crazy games. We had some crazy times, crazy games, and I think that's the fun part of it, because I have the perspective of all the way that things happen. And then I talk to somebody else. I'm like, what? I don't remember that. What are you talking about? And I'm like, there's no telling what else actually happened. I don't remember it. I don't remember half the stuff other people remember, so everybody has their own takeaway or perspective from their experience, which I think is cool. So I learned something new that I did every day when I talk to somebody about, oh yeah, remember when you did? I'm like, no.
That's hilarious.
No, I don't remember that, but
that's great.
Good times.
Yeah, for sure. When it comes to real estate, nobody does it better than Tim I, the real estate guy. Whether you're looking for that first buy or want to build that dream home, Tim Eisner at Royal LePage Atlantic is the one to call. With over 45 years in the home industry, Tim offers a unique advantage with its extensive industry experience, ensuring his clients get the most value for their investments. With a proven track record of repeat clients and steady stream of referrals, Tim's reputation as a trusted professional speaks volumes. If you're looking to buy or sell today, contact Tim at 902-499-5717 or visit him on Facebook at Tim Eisner Royal LePage Atlantic. Once more, that's 902-499-5717. Before you know it, you'll be saying, Tim Eisner strikes again. So, okay, your senior season winds down. You get drafted MPF by the Chicago Bandits in the 8th overall. Was pro ball on your radars in your senior season as it was winding down?
No, I mean, I think it was the same as college. Like, I think softball was not, I mean, it's not in the eyes. It wasn't on TV. It wasn't on social media. Like, there wasn't a lot of outlets to see it.
That's true.
So
yes.
It was not like always being seen. I remember seeing softball on TV, but it wasn't all the time,
right.
And then you didn't have social media to kind of be that other outlet of keeping up with everything. So it wasn't, I had no clue, to be honest, that it even existed. Until, however, I think somebody asked if I would be interested in play. Like, I don't remember that whole process of how that went down, but I definitely knew that I wanted to keep playing. And yeah, I was grateful for the opportunity, and I think it, just restarted a new chapter in my life. But yeah, no, I didn't want to play. I didn't know I could play. That, that was kind of the mindset. I didn't even know it existed.
So how did you get word that you got drafted? Did you get a call or?
I don't remember. I think because they weren't allowed to actually talk to us as players. I think they probably talked to Coach Harris. about some of us if we would be interested in playing. And I definitely know that's how that happened, because I think that's just, otherwise it would have been illegal.
Right. It really would have been.
Yeah. I think they just contacted coach or, whatever, if somebody would have had an agent or something, and then ask if they would be interested, or if at all they're interested in playing professionally. And then I think they had the draft. And I remember we were playing Alabama. I think it was on a Friday. We were playing Alabama on TV at Alabama the night of the draft. And so we all find out after the game's over, we lost. It was like a 1-run game, but that we all got drafted. And, we find out where we got drafted and all that stuff. So it was fun. I mean, I don't remember that entirely. Like, I don't remember any of the emotions I had, but, obviously excited and, different things like that. So
it's funny how times change. I mean, it's all over the map.
Definitely was still worried about winning a national championship. So,
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we talked about, your adjustment that freshman season. How was the adjustment when you jumped in the pros?
About the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looked like you did well. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah. You did what you did.
Yeah. I think that Coach Harris prepared myself individually, but other people, me, Elisa Goller, Taylor Slopey, Bree Hessen, all of us that played pro, I think we all went in and did well. And I think that was a big testament to Coach Harris and how she prepared us at an elite level. And, there was definitely a learning curve for a lot of different things, on and off the field, and expectations, and just, mindset and what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I had a good season, but I think, I was like, I didn't care who you were. I don't care if you're an Olympian. I don't care if you're, Kat Osterman, Monica Abb. I mean, I was on the same team as Monica, so that, but still, I didn't, I think I came in with obviously confident, but I wanted to be the best. I wanted to play the best. I wanted to win, and I think that when I got drafted with the Bandits, like, our team was so gritty. Our team was like, we had a really, really good team, and we ended up winning the championship that year. And it's crazy on paper, right? Nobody would have thought we would have won, because we were playing the Pride, and it was like the Olympic team,
right?
Basically.
Yeah.
So on paper, it's like, there's no way. But again, our team was so gritty, and, I played with some of the best people I've ever played with on that team. And we did. I mean, we killed it. We ended up winning, the championship down in freaking Sulphur, Louisiana, the hottest place on earth, in July and August, I think.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah, it was, it was crazy. It was wild. Yeah, but there's definitely a learning curve, and I think there always is. I think that professional softball is much different than college softball in so many ways. Obviously, it's still softball, but the players are way better.
Yeah.
They're conditioned, they're professionals. This is what they do, and just overall competition on an everyday basis is better. So, yeah, it was a learning curve, but it was fun. And I had great teammates that helped me with that curve. And, but overall, I think I was pretty prepared, just mentally and physically, just from, coming straight from Georgia and having played for Coach Harris for 4 years. So,
right. Now you mentioned Kat and Monica there. I mean, what was it like getting to watch Monica on a daily basis do what she did? Because, I mean, she goes down as one of the best ever. And of course, Kat does too. But I mean, you would have got to see Monica a lot more. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you a story. This is funny. I'll tell you a story. And this is, me and Monica, I love being Monica's teammate. I was playing outfield and center field, and I love playing behind her when she was pitching. But one day, this was probably earlier in the season, we were doing like live situations, and she was pitching, which, this is like throw a strike, we're going to bunt it type of thing. Like, we're working on like short game for the infield and, all that stuff, communication.
Yeah.
So she throws it, and like, okay, so like Monica's throwing probably like 70, right? Like 70. And this is probably like my second week as a professional. And I mean, I'm not like, oh, Monica Abbott, like, scared or anything. Yeah. But it's Monica Abbott and she's throwing 70, like, and she's like 6 foot something. So she's probably really throwing from like 30 feet instead of like 37-ish, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, I go to like bunt or like soft slap or something, and it ends up being a hard ground ball down the line, down first base. Okay. And so it's like an unwritten rule when you're doing this drills, like we're not actually hitting because they're throwing like balls down the middle.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I go and I'm like, oh, obviously I didn't mean to do that, and so it's foul ball and everybody was like, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? What am I doing? The ball was inside. And I'm trying to put the ball on the ground, and it shot off my professional hot rolled bat that we use, And so then she was like, get out. I was like, I'm not getting out. I'm going to do the drill, whatever. And so then she throws it behind me. She throws it to the catcher behind me to try to like, scare me or intimidate me. And I'm like, girl, I know I just got here, but
messing with the wrong dog here.
I don't know what you think is going to happen, but I'm going to stay right here and we're going to get this ball down, Obviously, my bad on the first one. I wasn't trying to hurt anybody, but so that was just funny. But I think that happened my freshman year. I mean, my first year pro. But yeah, playing with Monica, and then, a couple years after that, got to play against her. She's super competitive. So that was fun being able to compete with her, obviously as her teammate, and then being able to compete against her when we were on different teams. So, and that's my favorite thing, like, playing against, all those, Monica, Kat, Daniel Laurie, Sarah Paul, like all these big time pitchers that I was facing every night, first year coming in as a rookie, like I had to face these people, and I loved it. Didn't
you and Danielle have a little bit of a dust up one night? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that started in college, when she was at Washington. So, it flared up a little bit there. And
that's what makes the game so great.
It does. And we were all intense, and I love that. Like, yes. I'm going to be intense. I'm going to play hard. I want to win. I want to, do all the things. So it made for really great games, great competition, great riveries. And that's what people love. That's what people want to watch.
100%.
So it was the good old days.
Definitely. Do you feel that league would be still going if it weren't for COVID? Because essentially it was COVID that shut it down, was it not?
I don't think so. I don't know if it would have just fully collapsed. I think COVID was almost like a...
More or less like, well, I guess the Olympics too, because that last year was pretty much the Olympic teams.
Yeah.
Was it not?
I think there were other things that were, allowed COVID to be the reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it was just a good, clean way to end it.
Yeah.
I think if it was going the way it was going, it might have been inevitable. But I definitely think COVID was like this is a good
right.
This is a good reason that we can like tell the world that is, ending essentially.
Yeah.
So
I'd say you're bang on right there for sure.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned playing over in Japan for 5 seasons. How cool was that experience?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the top 5, things that I've loved doing in my life. Like, Japan is awesome. It's an awesome country. I love it. It's a beautiful country. The people are beautiful. The food is, amazing. I didn't lose any weight there, so that was great. Everybody's like, "You're gonna lose weight." I'm like, "No, I didn't. I didn't at all." And I ate all the food, and it was so good. But I loved it because I love they're competitive, the way they practice, they're intense. Like, I felt at home. Like, I felt like I was with my people that practicing hard, like all the things. It meant a lot. The coaching was very intense. They do this every day. It's their job, like all these things. And, I went over there and I did well. I did well. I played for 2 different teams. And it was amazing. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about, things that I could add to my skill sets. And I think, things that I learned over there made me a better player. And yeah, I mean, I think if anybody gets that opportunity, they definitely should go and try it. Even if you don't like it, or even if, you're only there for a year, I think it's definitely something that you should at least try to experience if you can. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, I've had a number of players on here and they rave. The 2 things they rave about is the intensity of the practices and the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. And it's very, very different. And the thing is, like, they don't have any time restraints. So we practice for 8 hours,
yeah. That's
day,
crazy.
Like, full day every day. So, but it's slower. Like, it's a slower pace. It's like when they do things, it's like super intense, super fast, but like they take a long time to do the things, so we'll practice for 8 hours, but we'll have like an hour lunch break in between. Or, you know what I mean? Like here, we have 2 hours, or in college you can only practice an hour and a half here. And, you have all these time restraints a lot of times. And, you go over there and it's like, this is their job. This is what they're here to do. And, we don't have to only practice for 2 hours today. We're going to practice for 8, and then we're going to take 1,000 reps, and we're going to, and it's a different way of life, I think, that in the sports world over there.
Well, it goes to show why they're so good on the international stage fundamentally.
Yeah, fundamentally. I mean, it's hands down.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right on. Let's talk AU.
Yeah.
So you've been a mainstay in AU since its arrival in 2020, really. I mean, so what's the chances we see you get picked up as free agent?
To be honest, I'm thinking it's probably 0.
Really?
Yeah, I think 3 of the teams have already decided. So I think maybe 1 hasn't yet, but yeah, I probably would find out when you found out. I don't know. So it's wild. It's been a wild couple months, dealing and having all that go on. So
yeah. So, I mean, like they announced players that had signed on for the season. So essentially that was like, you're signed on, but you have to be drafted. Is that what you were told?
Yeah. I mean, I think, we had, people got contracts, you signed on, they announced, different signings and different things like that. And then furthermore, you were going to get drafted to one of the 4 teams that, they were having. And yeah, I think at some point, the player pool got bigger and people were brought on, and, some people had contracts, some people didn't, and so I think the player pool, grew a little bit, from day one of, all this happening.
Yeah.
And I think people made, choices and decisions on people they wanted on their team, and so we're here now. And yeah, I mean, it was surprising, because contract and all that stuff, but at the same time, a little part of me was not surprised, and I was really anxious leading up into the draft, and I had a gut feeling that it wasn't, something was going to happen, something was going to be, or the chances of something happening were there,
right.
And I'm not new to the world. I'm not new to how the world has changed, and, what people value and what people think is good, different things like that, so I think a part of me wasn't surprised, but still kind of like confused a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been interesting, kind of dealing with all those different emotions that come from that, and, trying to figure out, really what's going on and what's going to happen, and, what does that look like for me, and different things like that. So again, yeah, it's been a interesting couple of weeks to say, to start the 2025 year off.
I would say so. I would say so.
Yeah.
As we wind down here, tell us about the Peaches Foundation that you run, because I'm guessing, that's something that's pretty near and dear to your heart.
Yeah. And, I think, right now I'm really trying, I've, been doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff to try to get things going, but I created the Peaches Foundation because, I wouldn't say I'm your typical girl / person in general. I just know I was raised differently. Times are different. Like, it's just different, you know?
Yep.
And I love a lot of the things that I had when I was growing up, and a lot of the things that I did, a lot of hands-on, building and learning, and, driving, a go-kart, like, different things that I think over time, help build my confidence as a person. And then too, on the field as a player. And I think that we all can agree that confidence is it's a big deal, and so many people think you can just get it. It doesn't just come off the shelf from a store. You can't just find, fake it till you make it, be confident. I'm like, yeah, but like people aren't confident, and fake confidence it's not real,
That's
and I
right.
think
Yes.
one thing I want to accomplish is building the confidence of young women, young girls, starting at a younger age. We don't have to have these huge confidence talks, but like getting them out, doing things, like learning things about them. Like I love building, and I've been building things all my life, as far as back as I remember. Me and my dad built, a screened in porch. We did this, and it's like now here I am in my life building things, so hands-on, teaching them life skills, not necessarily on a Zoom call, not via text, not on social media, like out in the world doing hands-on things, teaching life skills to young girls, young women, and to be able to help them be independent, and empower them. I think a lot of times, people have expectations of women, and then women have expectations of them. And a lot of times that's to be dependent on other people. And something my dad always taught me is to be dependent on yourself. I don't want you to need other people. And so building skills where you don't have to rely on other people, and you can, build a life for yourself, and, potentially get out of situations that aren't great. Or, if you do get into trouble, or you get into a wreck, or you do, you get a flat tire, right? Like, can you change a flat tire? Like, how do you do, can you make yourself safe in a situation that is not maybe safe? Or, can you help yourself out in a situation if you need to? And so that type of stuff is really important to me. A lot of people ask me like, why are you so confident? How'd you get so confident? I'm like, I don't know the answer to that. I really, it's not like I don't read. I didn't read these like confident building books or anything like that. Like, it's just, I did things. I did things in life. I tried things. I tried new things. I, pushed myself, all these things. And, as an only child, like, once I graduated college, or once I went to college, essentially, like I was on my own.
Yeah.
I didn't have brothers and sisters, or, my parents are close, like relatively, location wise, but like living and doing life things, like I'm on my own, and so I think it's important for women. I think we get forgotten about when we, teach life skills. I think a lot of times that's taught to men or young boys, and, different things like that. And it's like, I want to implement that with young girls and young women, and be able to share my experiences and different things that can help them be successful in life. Everybody's success is going to look different, and everybody's purpose is going to look different. And so just being able to share, my experiences and things I've learned, and bring people that can help, also do that, is what I want to accomplish with the Peaches Foundation. And, I love giving back. I love, community, things like that. And so, yeah, it's just something important. And I'm taking my time doing it because I want it to be right. I want it to be, meaningful. I want it to be impactful, to my community and, people that I am connected with. And I'm, starting to plan an event right now. It will be my first official event, back where I am from. So I'm from Snellville, Georgia, which is in Gwinnett County. So I'm working on starting and doing my first event there, because that is where I'm from. Those are my roots. That is, my hometown. And so I wanted it to be meaningful. And I wanted it to be somewhere that matters. And so anyway, that's kind of all I have right now, but, working on an event there, and just trying to build something that, I can share with the world. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Megan. Good for you, man. That's awesome. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So you're also the owner of the Peaches in the Scenic City Collegiate League, are you not?
I am.
So how did that all come about?
Again, I think it's, using your platform, providing and creating opportunities for, young women. Obviously it's a softball team, a collegiate softball team. So, just being able to provide opportunities for players to get better. A lot of times you come in as a freshman, sophomore, you might not get all the playing time, or, everybody has their own reason, or you're looking to transfer, or, different things like that. But utilizing, like, once you're out of travel ball, like, what are you doing during the summer? What are you like? If you're going to not do anything during the summer, you're going to come back in and still be the same player you were when you left the year before. So I think playing during the summer, baseball has it. They have summer leagues. Other sports have it. And so I think when Ryan Moore kind of created the FGCL, that's where the Peaches started. He's a baseball guy, so he understands having stuff during the summer for training and development purpose, And so he's kind of built this thing with the FGCL. We were a part of that. And then we moved to like the Nashville League. But I think now we're going to pretty much stay in Chattanooga right for now.
Yeah.
But really it's just providing opportunity and, creating and providing. Like I had a coach that I met through USSSA. She's been my coach for the last, 3 years. The other coach I had my first year with the Peaches, he was my professional coach my rookie season, Derek Brown. So he coached the Bandits. So, just like tying in different people and creating opportunities for people to like get coaching experience. Also, not just the players, is important for me too. But just creating opportunity for these girls to find a way to develop and get better. And, if your coach says, hey, you need to work on this is a great place for them to do that. And just kind of building that. And, I usually am able to go down there in between seasons and, when I have time and kind of coach a little bit, see the girls, meet the girls, because I handle all the things. I handle all the recruiting, getting the girls uniform, like all of it. And so being able to go down there, meet them, talk to them, help get them transferred if they want to, just all different. There's different scenarios every time, every year. So, but yeah, it's just something I like to help. I like helping athletes.
Yep.
And I like creating opportunities if I can.
Absolutely.
And I think that's just kind of what I love doing. And so, and I have a creative mind to be able to do that. And I appreciate everybody that, has been a part of the Peaches team so far. So I'm in the midst of bringing players on right now, having those conversations and kind of forming a team and finalizing my new coach for this season. So
fantastic. I've actually had Ryan on the podcast here, and great dude.
Yeah.
Such a great dude. Yeah. He's doing a lot for the game at that level. Like just remarkable what he's actually doing. So yeah, good for him. Actually, I think he's going to be coming back on the podcast in a couple months. So, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Did I see somewhere online that you got to design uniforms for the league?
Yeah, so that's kind of how it started. Yeah, I was working for a company here back, I think, a little bit before COVID.
Yeah.
And so, I helped him design all the, because it's summer ball, it's like you want crazy uniforms. Like, he had his own crazy ideas and I just kind of went with it and designed all the art and everything like that. But I designed all those uniforms and stuff for the last couple of years. And yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That would be right up my alley. I love uniforms. Doesn't matter what kind of, like, you know what I mean? Just,
no, they're like super elaborate, bright, down in Florida, like just all the different team names are kind of crazy too. So it was fun. It was fun for sure.
Before we get to the final segment here, I'd be remiss if I don't ask you about getting inducted into the Gwinnett County Sports Hall of Fame back in 2019. I mean, how awesome was that for you?
Yeah, that was really fun. Like, you grow up and you play, like I went to Shiloh and I played, like, and you don't know things are going to happen. You're in the moment when you're there and you're, doing the best you can. And so to be able to get an award like that, the thing that was cool, it wasn't not just softball, it was sports Hall of Fame. So like, I'm up there with like people that are like, big time coaches, big time players, like different things like that. Like Nick Saban was our keynote speaker. So he spoke before we got up and did our thing, and the crowd, I mean, easily probably 500 people. And so, we had the people that were getting inducted had to make a speech and they're like, 10, 15 minute, whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. Like trying to do anything. I probably spoke for like 30 or 45 minutes and I'm like, well, that was easy, but in front of like 500 people. Like it was really cool. It was really cool. And I had like, I can't remember how many tickets I had, but I invited all my coaches that were pretty impactful in my life. Like I invited my 8th grade basketball coach. I invited Coach Harris. I invited my travel ball coach, and I invited some, my mom, yeah, all those people that are close to me and my family. But I wanted to share with them because I think it's important that they know that they were a part of that moment. Like they were a part of me getting to that moment. And I actually had Jerry Glasgow introduce me. So he was up there. And yeah, it was special because, you don't really know your impact until you get that call, and I think it was cool that they were able to recognize me, being from Gwinnett County and just playing the game I love for so many years and being able to do all that. Yeah, it was pretty special. And, I got to meet Nick Saban, take a picture with him, but, he did his speech and I'm like, man, I could run through a wall right now. Like I could play football
Yeah.
at University of Alabama right now,
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was really fun. I'm glad everybody got to come, but I wanted to make sure that they knew, that they were important to me in my journey and, getting me here. So
that's fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Last segment of the podcast.
Okay.
We call it Player Association. I'm going to throw out some names. You're going to know them, obviously. If you have a story about them, let it fly.
Okay.
First one I got. Friend of the show, Kristen Sandberg.
Yeah, well, we go way back. I remember one time we like to do things. We like to operate on the edge of life when we were at school. So we played intramural. A lot of us on the team, we played intramural flag football, right? And we were like legit. We played with some of the soccer girls. Anyway, so me, Sandberg, like a lot of us. And then we decided that we're going to play intramural basketball. And so we like kind of got in trouble because I think Sandberg was like maybe hurt or like something happened. So she probably shouldn't have been playing. But like Coach Harris got onto her. And then I ended up telling Coach Harris that we all were involved. Like, so basically I wasn't going to like throw her under the bus, and I was like, look, Coach Harris, like we were all there. So we all ended up, I don't know, getting in trouble maybe a little bit, but yeah, we go way back and we, played professional obviously against each other. And, she's a big competitor herself. And yeah, it was always fun. I knew that she was always playing at her best. Like, she was always giving 1,000%. So being her teammate and also playing against her was like, you love her and you hate her all at the same time, So
yeah. Oh, that's great. 3 more here. Elisa Goler.
Yeah, I mean, again, me and Goler go way back. We came in together, same age. Obviously, we both played shortstop. I stayed at shortstop. I think she went to third, and I eventually went out to the outfield. We got drafted together to the, Bandits or whatever. So yeah, we played a lot of our career time together. And then we ended up, playing on different teams, but she's coaching in Athletes Unlimited AUSL now. So it's great. I think, and she's been head coach, for however many years now. And so just seeing where all of us are and how much we're growing and, still being a part of each other's lives and communicating and, talking about the good old days is, we had some good times. Me and Goler, we hit back to back, Taylor, me, Goler, they called us the triangle. And we were very successful, together and, back to back lefty hitters. And, we did a lot of good things together. So it was good.
2 more here.
Okay.
Another friend of the show, Delaney Wiz.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, Delaney is Delaney. Delaney is
good old lady.
Delaney is Delaney Wiz.
Yeah.
I love her. She's amazing. And she's fun to play with. She's fun to watch. Again, she's a big competitor and I'm, just really proud of her because I know, her journey's been, her journey and, not everybody has the same journey and, being able to get to the professional level. And then, she's works her tail off and being able to see her succeed is, something that I thoroughly enjoy, and being able to, play alongside her and even play against her, is really enjoyable. And, I wish nothing but the best for her, obviously, this upcoming season with the Bandits. And, I know how hard she works in the off season, and, being able to be, a part of her life and, see how hard she works and, all the things that she does. And, I'm just really proud of her for being her, and, having the success that she's had thus far in her professional career, and excited to be able to keep up with the rest of her success. So.
Yeah, for sure. How's the banter between the two of you when you played against each other?
Well, good thing for a lot of people, I'm in the outfield, so you can't really hear.
Good point.
You can't really hear me because I'm way far away.
Yeah.
And so I hate that sometimes, and because I'm so in the game and I'm just out there in like an island. Nobody can hear me. Nobody. I'm like, I'm here. I promise. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. No, I of course had Lainey on, and talking to her was awesome, and the journey that her sister went through, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, that's just was a wild story for me, and like you said, she's been through a lot, and the family's been through a lot. So
yeah, and the family's great. I love them. And the crazy thing is Stevie is now like a PA, like a heart doctor.
That's right.
So she's working.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it's like it's kind of crazy, you know. And I love the family, and they're just really great people, and amazing family. Yeah. So,
and last one here. I mean, we talked about her quite a bit on here, Coach Lou Harris.
Save the best for last. Yeah. I freaking love her. I love that she saw value in me as a young player coming in. I love that I made the decision to come to the University of Georgia and be able to play for her. She taught me a lot about being, obviously a great softball player, but I think ultimately she taught me a lot about being a strong woman, and I think so much you can learn from sports, and I'm just really thankful and glad that I made the decision to play for her. A lot of people at the beginning were like, don't go there. She's crazy. She's mean. I'm like, I am not worried about that. Like, trust me, I can handle it. I'm not, and I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I didn't listen to anybody else, because people, they don't know if they don't know, and I think that she was an amazing coach. She did so many amazing things for all the people that were able to play for her and come to the University of Georgia. And I'm so glad that she's getting inducted, finally into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I wish she could have coached forever, and I wish I could have played for her forever. But I'm glad that I was able to have her a part of my journey for the 4.5 years that I was being able to play for her. And yeah, I do not regret anything about making the decision I did to go to the University of Georgia and play for her. And I can't imagine myself not doing that, and she's a big part of that. She's a big part of who I am, how I am as a player on and off the field. So,
well, what a perfect way to end it. What a great way to end it.
Perfect way.
For sure. Listen, Megan, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're busy. I know you're busy. Yeah. You're a busy person. So again, listen, thanks for taking the time out, coming on, tell us about your career and whatnot. And I'm looking forward. I mean, best of luck with whatever you're doing in the future. Yes. I'm sure there's going to be many things going on. And again, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
See, I'm not gonna let me go crazy. Not this time. I'm going through changes. I'm gonna make it for sure. I'm going through changes, man. I've been here before.
I haven't stepped out of my house in 7 days. Heaven shaved, heaven showered, heaven changed. Same clothes, different day. Another good morning pissed away. Hey, got the whole world looking right at me. Actually, feels like people starting to look past me. I've been around. Feels like this just might be a last dance. I'm frustrated, I'm past tense. I still don't feel like I has been. I don't, but it's like a ghost town up in the studio. Nobody comes around here no more. I guess it's just how the movie go. I don't like playing my old friends' new songs. They don't listen to rap like back when. They all grew up, kinda moved on. And how could I blame them, huh? I used to sleep, eat, and breathe this shit. But now the older I get, I'm questioning if I really needed this. I used to stress what people said and what people thought about me. Now I worry about if my daughter can make it home from school without me. But still at the same time, as I'm writing this rhyme, I'm in my kitchen. My daughter's trying to tell me about a day I hear but not really listening. I'm staring at her, but in my head I'm putting these words together. I know that I need to do better, cause what I do now could change forever.
Shadows swimming in my head lately, but I don't mind. See, I'm not gonna let me go crazy, not this time. I'm going through changes, I'm gonna make it for sure.
It's a fall from paradise.
I'm going through changes and I've been here before.
And I know I'm so indecisive these days. And musically I feel confused, don't know what I'm like in these days. I just think it's time to check all the new shit, plus all of the